was telling them how I played Watermark, and they had mentioned that they hadn't played in a long time, and I said, well, they did change it. It's really nice. It's in great shape. I really enjoyed the golf course. I mean, I enjoyed playing golf at Watermark Country Club in Grand Rapids. Would love to go back there. Mick and those guys are fantastic. So always appreciated what they brought to the proverbial table. But we're on 18. It's a par five. It's off the tee. It's blind. If you hit it left, it could hit up on a hill and roll down. If you hit it right over a trap, it could roll down too. Mitch smoked one down the right side of the fairway. I could not believe how far he hit it. We were, what did I use? I think we were 176 in on a par five. That's impressive, man. So obviously we were on in two, and we ended up birdieing the hole. But it was just a great game and a lot of fun. Even though we didn't win it, Andy, we finished 8 under par. The winner won it at 11 under.
Yeah, I mean that still seems pretty good to me. But
yeah, it's pretty good. But I think I'd let us down. I did. There's a few shots that I'd love to have back, but overall didn't get it close enough to the pin. In the long run, though, it's for a great cause, and it's just a really enjoyable time. And then we were at Crystal Mountain yesterday, and the people there were just as nice. I mean, just fantastic. And that's what I love about going around the state of Michigan and talking to members of the PGA, talking to different people who handle their golf courses, the importance of what they've got going, the deals that they've got going, the various amenities that they provide. Folks, I know people like to take road trips and go golfing. You don't have to travel that far for a really nice road trip. You go to Thompsonville. You can go over to, like I mentioned, Watermark, or you want to expand that Red River Run, or Redwater Run, excuse me. I always think of the Red River Shootout. I don't know why, but the Redwater Run, and go to Tullymore and St. Ives. You're in heaven. You're in great shape. You're in championship golf courses, and you're going to enjoy your time. It's really, really, we're really fortunate in the state of Michigan to have so many wonderful golf courses with great people giving us great memories. So we decided that we'll bring it home for a little bit after that mini golf tour, if you will, and we welcome you into X's and Bros on a Wednesday morning. Tigers make it 2 straight, blowing out the Yankees for a second straight night. 9-3 the final. 5 home runs, 2 by Riley Green. We don't have to go over every single one of them, but Kerry Carpenter led things off in a pretty emphatic fashion. That was nice to see, wasn't it? And then Riley Green, as they go back-to-back, which is pretty cool. The first of 2 for Riley Green. Spencer Torkelson hit a 2-run bomb that seems like it's still going, and James Outman hit one as well. And suddenly the Yankees have lost 6 in a row. Detroit beat the hell out of Cam Schlittler, who's been really good for New York. He allowed 6 home runs in 17 starts. Last night, he gives up 4 runs, or 4 homers, 6 runs overall. He allows 7 hits, 4 bombs in just 4 innings.
Yeah,
that's an incredible statistic. It really is.
I was
the guy who gave 6 homers in 17 starts gives up 4 in 4 innings. For crying out loud!
It was nuts. I was covering the Whitecaps last night here in West Michigan. They have out on their scoreboard. They have the Tigers score, and I usually put them in and listen to them when I cover those games, but I didn't have them in yet because we had an intern with us and I was helping him out. And I kept looking out there and I saw 1, 2, and then I saw 4. And I'm like, the first inning, I'm like, wasn't Cam Schlittler pitching tonight?
Yeah,
I was just confused.
Like I said, a guy who's been really good.
Really good.
2 in the 3rd and then 3 in the 6th, and the Boo Birds were out in New York, which just goes to show you, and you're going to have this. It goes to show you in baseball in general. That's a New York team that is 11 games over 500. They're 2.5 back in the division. Right now they'd be comfortably in,
and they have plenty of injuries right now. By the way,
number 1 wild card. It's a team that has actually has more road kills than home wins. but also leads the American League in run scoring differential. And yet people are booing them. And I understand why. I mean, when you lose 6 in a row, and let's face it, you go into this series and you're the New York Yankees and you're going, wait a minute now. We're playing one of the worst teams in the American League this year, record-wise. They may not dive into every statistic and every little nuance that the Tigers do well or don't do well, but they're looking at it from a big picture standpoint as a team that is, 14 games under 500 when the series started. So they're bound to boo, and I don't necessarily blame them one bit. Tarek Skubal struck out 9 over 6 innings, claimed his 4th win of the season. Here's what he's got going in June. He's got a strikeout per 9 of 12. He's got a home run per 9 of almost 3. So he's in the top 7 among qualified pitchers in strikeouts per 9 in the month of June, because June just ended, as you know. And his home run per 9 is 5th worst among qualified pitchers. He has somehow allowed 10 earned runs in June, even though he was touched for 7 home runs in the month. That's a pretty unique statistic.
You're not going to see that very often, that's for sure.
No, you're not. Tigers seek a series sweep this afternoon. Troy Melton throws against Will Warren. Here's the Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question. Would you want the Pistons to sign LeBron James as a free agent? Would you want the Pistons to sign LeBron James as a free agent? Yes or no? Vote as often as you want. We'll give you the results in the 8 o'clock hour tomorrow. Speaking of LeBron James in basketball, although we didn't touch on it last night, I did host an event last night at the Detroit Athletic Club in downtown Detroit. So it was a push for me to go from Crystal Mountain back home, ready myself, and get over there for a neat event that involved 3 of the most impactful Pistons and maybe athletes in our city/state's history, at least recent history. We'll talk of that when we come back on X's and Bros. We're glad you're with us on a Wednesday morning. We're brought to you by our friend Mitch Lyons Wealth.
Huge here for all the ABC warehouse locations in Michigan. Now, if you're looking for the best prices on TVs, furniture, appliances, mattresses, and more, you need to go to abcwarehouse.com. You can shop there and also shop in person at all ABC warehouse locations across Michigan. For the one close to you, go to abcwarehouse.com. Best deals on TVs, appliances, furniture, and mattresses at all ABC warehouse locations in Michigan.
Rod Stewart returns to Soaring Eagle Thursday, September 3rd. The Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series with special guest Richard Marx. Tickets start at $71 and are on sale now at the box office and etix.com. One last time, Rod Stewart with Richard Marx, September 3rd, SoaringEagleCasino.com.
The good life is firecracker savings at Meijer throughout the July 4th weekend. Load up your cart with summertime crowd pleasers like juicy burgers made with 80% lean ground beef. Now just $3.99 a pound on a 3-pound package or larger, limit 5. Sweeten your celebration with fresh favorites. Sweet corn, 4 for $1. And mini seedless watermelons or tender golden pineapples, buy one, get one for $1. Mix or match. Make the 4th your best yet with good life quality at real low prices. Only at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Our state is Mecca for golf, and one of Michigan's crown jewels is Tullymore and St. Ives, 2 world-class championship courses in one charming and beautiful location. The golf is challenging but fair. You're going to use every club in your bag. But let me tell you what makes Tullymore really special. It's the people. From the wait staff to the bartenders to the pro shop and the management, their sole purpose is to give you a memorable experience, and they do. Go to TullymoreGolf.com today and experience a Michigan masterpiece.
Where are you watching the Tigers this year? Superfly Hayes here for Detroit Sportsnet. Sign up like the Ute Show did with the Detroit Sportsnet Tigers Wings package. Subscription info at Tigers.com and MLB.com.
Yeah, just getting in rhythm. I think, just taking the ball every fifth day or every sixth day, whatever it is, just getting in rhythm and there's a lot of kinks that you can work out when you're out there on the mound and establishing that rhythm. So, I feel like I'm trending in the right direction, and that's what really matters right now. Obviously, we need to win, but me personally, I feel like I'm throwing the ball really well, and the stuff coming on my hand is as good as, it's ever been. It's just I need to get into a rhythm a little bit better.
That Tarek Skubal was actually on the injured list, doesn't it? And he's been dialed in since. That's a good thing for Tigers fans in a lot of different ways. And one, obviously, it's going to give you a better chance of winning. Two, if you're going to trade this man, teams want to know that he's locked and loaded. And that's exactly what you got. And the Tigers 9-3 win last night.
A start like last night was important for that, for sure, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, the start before was good. How many more starts will he get before the trade deadline? The trade deadline is August 3rd, right? So first day of July right now. So if you're looking at it from a Tiger standpoint, at what point do you trade him? At what point do you have to figure out you're out of it? Like you cannot. I don't know what Scott Harris's line is in the sand. We've got to be within this much at this time for us to stay with him. But I would tell you this, if you better be damn sure, if you don't move him, you better be damn sure you're going to make a strong playoff push. Not push to the playoffs. There's a difference. I'm talking about a strong playoff push. Because you can't afford to just get draft picks for this dude. You know that, and I know that. This is not one of those things where you can go to the crowd at wherever it is and say, well, hey, compensatory pick, here we go. We're getting this. No, you can't do that. Wrong answer. You've got to make sure this is worth keeping because you're not getting anything for him otherwise. What do you have, 4 starts in June? That's because of the injury. When healthy, how many starts is he going to get in the month of July before you actually put pencil to paper and say, this is when we have to move him? It's a good question. Last year in July, he had 4 starts. Okay. He went 0-1 last year. Last year in June, he had 5 starts. So this year, I would guess, if you're going to keep him the entire month, you may see Tarek Skubal only for 4 to 5 starts. Like the most starts he had in a month a year ago was August. He had 6. He had 6 in May as well. So that's what you're looking at. So enjoy it, take it in, and see what happens. And he's throwing the baseball really well. Last night I was at the Detroit Athletic Club, and there was an event there for Oakland University. And Richard Hamilton, Isaiah Thomas, and Rick Mahorn were on stage. And we spoke for about an hour and 45 minutes and could have gone easily 5 hours talking with these guys about various stories. Rick Mahorn and his feelings of being unprotected after the Pistons won their first championship in 1989. His numbers, by the way, the next year, because he forced Minnesota to trade him. He told Minnesota, I want $1 million, which was a lot of money back then. I know it seems funny to think about, but it's true. I want $1 million. Minnesota said, we can't pay you that. He said, then trade because I'm not showing up. So they traded him to Philadelphia. It's either Philadelphia or the Lakers. So he went to Philadelphia. Came back. That year, they made it to, I believe, the Eastern Conference Finals, or at least the Eastern Conference semifinals. That year, Eastern Conference semifinals. He had 5 games of 20 points or more because it wasn't known as necessarily a score. 5 games of 20 points or more. 3 of them came against Detroit. So there was incentive there. The other thing I learned from him last night that I hadn't known before is that he didn't start playing basketball until he was a senior in high school. Yeah. And he went to Hampton Institute, and the rest, as they say, is history. But pretty interesting. And for a guy 18 years in the NBA to not really play basketball until your senior year because he had a growth spurt, that's pretty impressive. Isaiah Thomas I talked to him for a long time, and because he sat at my table when we had dinner, and I talked to him prior to. We talked a lot about football, believe it or not. The football stuff is pretty interesting. He says, I watch basketball and football. That's all I watch. The basketball stuff, obviously, what does everybody want to know? Everybody wants to know about the Jordan stuff and everything, right? And my job as the MC of this event was to ask the questions that most people would want to know the answer to. So I asked him about the fact that he was supposed to be the Pistons president and general manager. Why did that not happen? I asked him about being snubbed from the dream team. I asked him about walking off the court. The most interesting story came from the last question the question I had asked him, referencing to the latter, walking off the court against Jordan and the Bulls. His response is something I had not heard before. Here's what people don't realize, he said. Back then in the NBA, before the kumbaya moments on a regular basis, the hugging, the brother hugs, the love, the, hey, man, miss you, let's change jerseys, let's get a pick, and all this other crap. You went and congratulated the champion in the locker room. You gave them their moment to celebrate on the floor of battle. Now, some people may kind of sneer at that and shake their head, but then he brought up some good points. He goes, show me all the pictures of the teams who were congratulating the other while on the floor, let's say between the Lakers and Celtics. I don't remember any team, like I don't remember the Sixers shaking hands with the Celtics when Boston turned that page against Julius Erving and Moses Malone and Maurice Cheeks and the like. I'm not justifying what he did. I'm just saying it's interesting. Boston did the same thing. He said, when we finally beat Boston in 1988, when we finally beat them, they left the floor. They came into the locker room afterwards. They actually came in. Chris Ford, the head coach, and other members of the Celtics came in and shook our hands. They let us have our moment in 1988. That was the justification of what he was talking about. But the deep down truth also stems from the way Jordan and the Bulls had handled things. And that has everything to do with the fact that they said in so many words that the Pistons really weren't worthy of champions, that the Pistons were not good for the NBA. So it was a very insightful. Richard Hamilton was really good. He gave us some really good insight on his time in Washington with Michael Jordan, the trade to Detroit and why it took place. So was able to get a lot of really good stories from all these guys, and it was a really enjoyable event and for a good cause. So it's really cool stuff. Our phone number, by the way, on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. You can text us, Sports Radio 21000. Do want to talk quite a bit of Lions this morning, but we are going to talk basketball. Omari Sankofa on the Free Press will join us 8:35 to talk about where the Pistons stand in free agency, what's going on with Jalen Duren and the latest, and so on and so forth. We'll get to all that and a whole lot more here on X's and Bros as we get rolling on a Wednesday morning, brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth.
Huge here for the Carmody Brothers and all the Buffalo Wild Wings locations in Michigan. They have some huge deals happening every week. Buy one boneless wing, get one free every Thursday. They also have their bottomless appetizers. Groups can get bottomless apps starting at $9.99, and they also have the Pick Six meal for two. Get 2 entrees, 2 sides, and 2 drinks starting at $19.99. That's happening at all Buffalo Wild Wings locations in Michigan. Huge deals every week.
The stock market goes up and then it goes down. It's fine while you're saving for retirement, but as you get closer to retirement, it can cause stress. Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. In my NFL days, the season could be a real roller coaster and a lot of fun, but roller coasters in retirement aren't as much fun. Do world events have you wondering if your retirement is safe? Will your money last even if the stock market were to take a dive? Have you had your retirement account stress tested to see what kind of risk you're actually taking? Let's not leave your retirement to chance. Hope is not a plan. Contact the pros at Mitch Lyons Wealth today and put us to work for you. Let's ensure your plan works even if the stock market doesn't. Text PLAN, P-L-A-N, to 844-867-8335. That's PLAN to 844-867-8335. MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. Investment advisory services are offered through MLW Advisory Services, LLC, DBA Mitch Lyons Wealth, a registered investment.
The good life is firecracker savings at Meijer throughout the July 4th weekend. Load up your cart with summertime crowd pleasers like juicy burgers made with 80% lean ground beef. Now just $3.99 a pound on a 3-pound package or larger, limit 5. Sweeten your celebration with fresh favorites. Sweet corn, 4 for $1. And mini seedless watermelons or tender golden pineapples, buy one, get one for $1. Mix or match. Make the 4th your best yet with good life quality at real low prices. Only at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the
Where are you watching the Tigers this year? Superfly Hayes here for Detroit Sportsnet. Sign up like the Ute Show did with the Detroit Sportsnet Tigers Wings package. Subscription info at tigers.com and MLB.com.
As I was getting ready for the event last night that I just referred to at the Detroit Athletic Club with Richard Hamilton, Isaiah Thomas, and Rick Mahorn, I was reading up on a lot of things that were said because, we have a tendency to forget. It's a long time ago. And I know a lot of people say turn the page. That's fair. I would also remind you when it comes to certain teams, certain players, certain rivalries. I don't know what you think. What's the most necessary ingredient in a rivalry? What makes a rivalry?
History, maybe.
And you got to gain that history. So it's that chicken or the egg thing.
Yeah, right.
It's a trickle down effect for. I don't think it has to be in every sport, but it's a trickle down effect from not just players and coaches and management, but obviously fans. Is location really important? No. Boston and the Lakers have a really good rivalry throughout the years, right? Okay. You would like to think they have to meet more than once a year, more than twice a year, but football you can only meet primarily a couple of times a year, unless you get teams in the playoffs. So yeah, history is really important. I think it's important to have a balance. It'd be nice to have each team have something to brag about. How's that? I think you have to have certain moments. Moments also make a rivalry. So really important. Moments lead to quotes and inspirational and I want to get back at you type feelings. When we referred to, the Pistons-Bulls rivalries back in the late 80s and the early 90s, the things that are always brought up, one of the things that is consistently brought up is the Pistons walking off the floor in 1991. Remember this, Michael Jordan still says, this was just a March of a year ago, that there's resentment that he has toward Isaiah Thomas and the Pistons, which is interesting because Isaiah Thomas's nephew lived with Michael Jordan for a long time. But remember, and people have a tendency to forget this, Michael Jordan literally said, quote, "The Pistons are undeserving champions. The bad boys are bad for basketball." That's a direct quote from him. All right. So there was a hatred there. That's awesome. But between games 3 and 4 of the 1991 Eastern Conference Finals, in which Boston would go on and sweep Detroit, first time Detroit's ever been swept, I believe, in a playoff series. First, between those two games, as Chicago was ready to close them out, that's what he said. That they're bad for basketball. That they're undeserving champions. And as much as I can admit that Michael Jordan's the greatest player I've ever seen in basketball, I can also say that's why I dislike him so much. I can watch his highlights. I think he does stuff that I don't think there's anyone better than him. LeBron James isn't better. Kobe Bryant isn't better. I think if you're going to take an all-time team, he has to be on it. So I can separate my feelings from what I believe. But on the other hand, when you say that about my team, my favorite team is probably the 1988 squad. But if you say that about my team, I'm going to stand up for my team because they weren't bad for basketball. I read an article, as I mentioned, preparing for those interviews last night, where it was in 2020, so it wasn't too long ago, and the writer wrote that the Pistons are the most hated champions ever. And actually wrote this, quote, "To go so far as to say they didn't earn their championships might be a stretch." And I'm thinking to myself, might be a stretch. What did they do during that 3-year dominating run in the Eastern Conference, a 2-year world championship run that is a hell of a lot more difficult than people realize? Ask the Oklahoma City Thunder this year. Okay, before you start throwing teams into the all-time greats, recognize what the Lakers had done. Recognize what the Celtics had done. Recognize what the Pistons and the Bulls had done. Even the Golden State Warriors. Be careful. But anyway, to go so far as to say they didn't earn their championships might be a stretch. How in the world might it be a stretch? It is a stretch, and it is wrong. You can write an article about a specific individual and still consider the individual incorrect. Are they the most hated champion ever? No.
Yeah.
Maybe by Bulls fans.
I'm going to say, I don't think they're the most hated ever, though.
No. If you go nationally, there's a lot of people who hated great Yankee teams. There's a lot of people who have hated great Cowboys teams or even the Patriots. You don't think after quote-unquote Deflategate or Spygate and the Patriots win a Super Bowl that they weren't hated more than this Pistons team? Please. Absolutely. I think it's hard today because of the national admiration and love for the New York Knicks. But when you have as many people shoving one franchise down your throat, then, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of people who show resentment and don't like a team like the Knicks. It's interesting how that didn't really happen with the Bulls. And it didn't really happen because Michael Jordan was a guy that I think the media feared. There's a couple of athletes that the media all-time feared. You don't say anything bad about them, otherwise it comes back to haunt you. Tiger Woods is one of them, and I think Michael Jordan is another. Speaking of the NBA, we're going to give you an update on the free agency situation. You know, it's getting pretty unique here in Detroit, and we touched on this yesterday a little bit. I want you to think about this for a minute. The Red Wings have lost Dylan Larkin, their or about to lose their captain, Dylan Larkin. He wants to be traded. That's saga and how it plays out is still going to be interesting.
Is there any part in your mind that's creeped in at all that he might not actually be leaving Detroit?
I've always felt that. There's always been a part of me that thinks that it's going to be really uncomfortable for him. But he's put himself in, he's the one who's put himself in this situation.
I think losing the captain is the good way to put it, because he might lose the C anyway. I don't know if they have that conversation or what goes on with that. But
and here's the other thing. He can mope and whine about it all he wants, but if he does that and doesn't perform, then his chances of getting traded get less and less likely. So isn't that ironic that a guy has put himself in this situation, making a demand with a select number of teams, and then you're going to sit there and mope if you can't get traded to those teams because it lessens your value. So you've got to play as hard as you've ever played. And knowing him and knowing his character, he wouldn't sit there and mope and whine about it anyway. He would do what he has to do.
Yeah, you'd think he'd at this point, you'd have to talk to your teammates or something too, right? Kind of be I don't know.
Well, I don't know if he's talked to his teammates.
No, if he did end up coming back to Detroit, if he didn't get traded, I would think if he had any chance of keeping the C or whatever, he'd probably have to.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can do that. I think that's going to be forfeited. I would guess most Cider would wear the C. That's just my guess. Maybe they won't have anybody wear it. Maybe it'll be Cider with an A, Raymond with an A, man I don't know with an A. You don't need 3. Okay. Right. There's no rule that says you got to have this many. It could be just those 2 guys with A's, assistant captains. But either way, think about what we're dealing we as in the state of Michigan. Okay. Think about what we're dealing with. You're about to lose one of your best players and your captain of your hockey team. All right. DeBrincat's your best scorer. Cider's your best defenseman. Larkin's your best forward. 200 feet, he's your best forward. Okay. You're about to, at least the expression has been that you're about to lose a third-team All-NBA player and an All-Star center who is showing a really weird way of wanting to stay in Detroit if indeed he wants to stay here. By pushing that envelope, maybe it's a strategy. It's a dangerous one, because if you stay in Detroit, they're going to remember that. Every person who is even mildly offended by this, every person who is mildly supportive of Jalen Duren. You got to be all in on Jalen Duren before you're willing to stand up and fight for him after the way he's handled this situation, reportedly. If his crew, if his management team is pushing to Sacramento, hey, sign our guy and we'll do a sign and trade. Pushing to the Lakers, again, if reports are true, sign our guy and we'll do a sign and trade. If that's true, the Lakers don't have the assets to do that. If that's true, then it's hard for anybody who likes Jalen Duren to sit there and fight for him, don't you think? Anytime an athlete wants out, how many times do fan bases go, well, that's okay. Come on back. We're good. They may welcome you back with a standing ovation if you had some incredible moments and led them to a lot of enjoyable times. Matthew Stafford coming back to the Lions. People gave him a standing ovation when he came back. It was deserved. Second time back, not so much, right? We'll give you one. After that, you play for the opposition. We're done. Our relationship has been severed. It was you who the one chose to do that. His situation is much different because Lions fans can completely relate to what their quarterback was feeling on a regular basis. The ineptitude. That is not the case with others. Sure isn't the case with Jalen Duren. And people feel like Dylan Larkin's been part of the problem as much as anything else.
Yeah, I know plenty of people that still
Matthew
talk
Stafford.
about they can't stand Stafford and stuff like that. Like, I can't imagine what you'd think of Larkin then, because they haven't won anything.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. And maybe it's because Stafford won a Super Bowl and Detroit didn't win squat here.
Right.
But anyway, so you got Duren in that situation, and it's a situation that, I mean, Trajan Langdon has got to get it right. And not just because if Jalen Duren leaves, but because he traded Isaiah Stewart. He traded the guy who might take this guy's place. That's a tough thing. You've got to overcome that. So you've got those two scenarios with Duren and Larkin, and you've got the scenario with Skubal. We are left as a Detroit sports fan base wondering why our best players, or at least one of the best players, because Jalen Duren's not the Pistons' best player, it's Cade Cunningham, and it's not even close, want out. Skubal, it's not that at least he's played this game the right way. It's not that he wants out, it's that the team can't afford it. Larkin wants out. Duren, the way he's acted, seems to want out. Better be careful.
Yeah, I'm very interested.
Because if the Pistons are matching this, Andy,
yeah,
he's going to have a hard time overcoming this PR nightmare. Don't you think?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it'd be crazy. That's why I'm interested to hear what Omari has to say about it when he comes on today, just because of what he reported about. He talked to multiple sources and said the Pistons didn't really have an intent or imminent plans or intentions to trade Jalen Duren, which is like kind of the opposite of what I feel like I've been seeing everywhere else. And I don't know, he also put out an article about 5 targets they could still get in free agency. There's just a lot of stuff that feels like it's been floating around the Pistons with a lot of uncertainty over the last couple of days.
Well, let me ask you this. If the writings, and I'm not saying every player pays attention so closely to the media.
Sure.
But if the writings are there about how the Pistons plan on matching offers, on the fact that the Pistons have no intention of trading Jalen Duren, we've seen it everywhere, right? You can go proud a little bit and knock on doors all you want. It doesn't mean you want that guy cleaning your gutters, all right? Thanks for your service, but I'm good, right? You can always say no. If Jalen Duren notices it's just an inkling of what's going on in the media, that the Pistons have those intentions, why are they being so flamboyant about teams they're looking at to try and make something like this happen? Free agency period started Tuesday night. Deals can be agreed to, although not officially signed, until Monday, July 6th. So it's close. We're closing in there. We saw Kawhi Leonard, okay? It's a done deal. sign and trade with the Clippers, right? Traded back to the Toronto Raptors. Can't be official until July 6th. Didn't prevent him from walking down the steps at Sky Dome or whatever the hell it's called now for the Blue Jays with an entourage leading him to a front row seat last night. And everybody standing and cheering, which always makes me think, you know damn well that's a given seat. That's handed to him. And the people who can afford those the most seem to get the benefit of getting those seats for free more than you or I would. But I digress. So July 6th is when it takes place. Kawhi Leonard, there was no question they were going to trade him. Jalen Duren, that's up in the air. Not to mention the fact that Jalen Duren could make more overall money with the Pistons. It's an odd way of going about doing business.
All of it's been weird to me. I just didn't expect to see that like this going on right now. I don't know. There's no part of me that thought this was going to blow up this big with Jalen Duren.
Isn't it interesting? A team that won 60 games, and you would think players would want to be here.
Right. You think it would be relatively the same roster the next year, kind of like
pretty damn close. A tweak here and a tweak there, right?
Right. I mean, we were talking about
Jalen. Yeah, and Jalen Duren is sitting here telling everybody who will listen, I'm ready to talk to other teams to try and force a sign and trade. Tobias Harris is looking at 5 specific teams. There is the belief that they're going to waive Duncan Robinson, and there might be a trade that involves Karis LeVert. It's not like these guys were small pieces to this team. Those are 4 major names.
Yeah, huge.
As part of your 8 to 9 man rotation, more like a 9-man rotation. Okay, that's a really big deal. And it ain't getting fixed with just, one signing of LeBron James.
Absolutely not.
I'm interested to hear what people have to say about that via the Mitch Lanswell poll question. If you're a Pistons fan, do you want them to sign LeBron James as a free agent? Personally, I wouldn't. I know he's productive. I think things get bogged down, and I sure as hell don't think he has the defensive mindset that is required by this Pistons team and what this Pistons culture has built. Our phone number on the Meyer hotline, 868-838-4843. Text the program, Sports Radio 21,000. Amari Sankofa will join us a little bit later on. There is a viewpoint by one of the writers in one of the Detroit newspapers about the Lions that I just can't seem to understand. We'll get to that on the other side. We're glad you're with us on a Wednesday morning. We're brought to you this hour by our friend Mitch Lyons and Mitch Lyons Wealth.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Rod Stewart returns to Soaring Eagle Thursday, September 3rd. The Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series with special guest Richard Marks. Tickets start at $71 and are on sale now at the box office and etix.com. One last time, Rod Stewart with Richard Marks, September 3rd, SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Huge here for the incredible Crystal Mountain Resort in Thompsonville, Michigan. If you've never experienced the mountain, it's unbelievable. They offer up 36 holes of championship golf, Betsy Valley, Mountain Ridge, accommodations, a ton of choices. Go to crystalmountain.com, see everything for yourself. One of the top spas in America. They can handle businesses, small groups, big groups, your buddies, the ladies, and more. Book your getaway now at crystalmountain.com. That's crystalmountain.com. Van Andel Institute Purple Community is a grassroots fundraising network powered by the dedicated volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve human health now and in the future. When you raise funds through the Van Andel Institute Purple Community, 100% of the proceeds go directly to the Institute's research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's, as well as VAI's science education programs. Learn how you can get involved at purplecommunity.org.
Celebrate the soul of folk and Americana. The Lumineers Automatic World Tour comes to Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort Sunday night, July 19th, with special guest Josiah and the Bonnevilles, part of the Soaring Eagle Outdoor Summer Concert Series. Tickets start at $67 and are on sale now at the box office or online at etix.com. Showtime 8 p.m. See the Lumineers live with Josiah and the Bonnevilles, July 19th at Soaring Eagle Casino. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Where are you watching the Tigers this year? Superfly Hayes here for Detroit Sports Net. Sign up like the Ute Show did with the Detroit Sports Net Tigers Wings package. Subscription info at tigers.com and MLB.com.
Coming up later today at 3 on the Huge Show on the Michigan Sports Network, I'll deliver huge opinions on everything you're talking about.
Fast first hour. Welcome back. Second hour of the program here on X's and Bros. Glad you're with us. He's Andy McDonald. I'm Matt Shepard. Tigers a winner 9-3 last night. The wrap-up in New York is tonight. And the Mitchell Lanswell poll question, if you're a Pistons fan, should they sign LeBron James as a free agent? Yes or no. Vote as often as you want. We'll get into that a little bit later on if we have some time. I was reading the Detroit Free Press the other day. A friend of mine, Carlos Monarez, who is a very he can be a very polarizing writer. I think some of that's by design, quite honestly. Good guy, he really is, and a good golfer, I might add. Huge baseball fan, and a guy who isn't afraid to ask hard questions and take a strong stance. I respect that, especially the golf part of it. But anyway, he wrote recently about the Terrion Arnold situation. We all know that the Lions released Terrion Arnold, right? Okay, fine. Should they have released him? It's a good question. It's our Mitchell Lions poll question from yesterday. So we'll get to that in the 8 o'clock hour. The quotes, again, this is why sometimes you forget the quotes need to be brought up again. Like Dan Campbell had said, I'm going to trust what the kid said, and we're going to be all right. We got all the information that says he wasn't involved. That's what we know. That's all we know. The Lions also described some of his issues as not a big deal because they were convinced he wasn't involved in it. Suddenly, things changed drastically, okay? Rod Wood told the Free Press before the draft. Arnold was in my office the day after the allegations came out. He was grilled about the incident, and obviously they felt pretty good about it. Fast forward, he's been released. The opinionated commentary article in the Free Press was that the Lions should have used a pick in the first 2 days of the 2026 NFL draft that began April 23rd. Instead, they waited until the third day in the 5th round to take Keith Abney. Now, other people have texted us in the past, and they're confused too. So here's my question. Do you believe going into the draft, whether Terrion Arnold was with you or not, let's just say you release him after those allegations, which, by the way, would have caused a problem with the National Football League Players Association because there's just allegations at the time. Not that you would have a ton to worry about, but you had to be careful there, all right? You had to wait to get everything. Look, I'm not trying to make excuses for the Lions front office. However, when you're asked questions about this, at a pre-draft press conference, and people are asking you about Terrion Arnold, are you going to sit there and say no comment? No. You're going to say, look, this is what we know so far, knowing that they are convinced that Terrion Arnold's okay for right now, because even the investigation wasn't completed. Then what are you supposed to say? If you cut him and there's no issue, and he's not indicted or anything like that. He's not walking in some type of red/orange jumpsuit from jail, and you cut him and he's not doing that. People are saying, how could you have done that so prematurely?
100%.
If you do that afterwards, then you should have done it earlier. But going into the draft, did you think this team, considering it lost its identity with offensive line, do you think they needed an offensive lineman
in the draft?
In the draft,
I mean, yeah, I would have.
Of course they did.
I was going to say I wouldn't have disliked that big. Yeah.
I mean, didn't most people think that was their number one concern?
Sure. I mean,
okay.
It maybe adding Cade Mays helped, and I don't know.
But he's a center.
Yeah.
You needed. You lost a left tackle. You lost a center, and the year prior, you lost your left guard and your right guard. Yes, you needed an offensive line. And remember, Andy, we were talking about it. Who are their linemen? Going into the draft, that's what everybody was saying. Wait a minute, they traded for Juice Scruggs? Who the hell is that? Stop me when I'm wrong.
No,
here.
that's people.
Who the hell is that, right? Before the draft, as they built up to it, Larry Borum. Who the hell is that? You're going to start him at right tackle. This is going to be a long season. Why would you do that? It's irresponsible. Brad Holmes should be fired. Those are some of the things that people were saying. So that was day one. Day two, have we not complained that this team has needed an edge rusher forever?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So when you do address that, and Derek Moore, and yes, they had to trade to get up to move up to get it. What would be the issue there? This is what happens in football. I mean, you are in constant need because turnover happens so frequently. It's not like you and I were just talking about with basketball. You would have guessed the Pistons would have had very little turnover after a 60-win campaign. Now it looks like they're going to have significant turnover. The Lions and NFL teams, for the most part, have significant turnover. Remember, the Lions, not just the draft and bringing in new players, guys like Blake Miller, guys like Derek Moore, guys like Jimmy Rolder, guys like Keith Abney. Folks, I mean, they had 14 free agents that they brought in. So my guess is his thought was round 4, you should have taken it. You should have taken a cornerback instead of Jimmy Rolder, understanding, too, that Jimmy Rolder is filling a need because they lost Alex Anzalone. And unless you want to go in with Malcolm Rodriguez, who's probably more of a special team guy, might be a bit of an issue. So you could have drafted Kalante Scott. Okay? Tampa drafted him a few spots before Rolder. He's the kid out of Miami, and a guy actually we liked. I mean, we talked about that. We're number 3 at Miami. We said that. He would have been a good fit for this team. All right? So that's a possibility. Maybe they passed on him. Maybe they should have taken Jaden Kennedy instead of, well, Kansas City had already taken him. There's really, who could you have taken? You'd have to look at the cornerbacks after Rolder on who you could have taken. Were you and I dying to have Malik Muhammad? Hell no. Didn't know and watch him at Texas. Did you feel like you had to have Will Lee III out of Texas A&M? I doubt it. I don't remember anybody suggesting as much. You addressed it in the 5th round that everybody says it's a steal. You should have drafted him in the 4th round, they say. Or at least that's what this article's implying. And then maybe you get the linebacker a little bit later on. Either way, there are so many needs, so many holes to plug with starters or with depth guys that it makes it really hard. Part of the reason that perhaps Detroit waited for Keith Abney in the 5th round is because of all the free agents they signed, because of the depth that they signed otherwise. So when you have a team, and I'm not saying all these guys are starters, okay? But when you have a team, like DJ Reed's got to be big, but if you have Rock Yassin, okay, and you have a Nick Whiteside, and you have a Khalil Dorsey, and you sign a Roger McCreary, and you bring in a Christian Ezion, and you're hoping, crossing both fingers or crossing every finger on both hands and every toe on both feet, that Enos Rakestraw can actually stay healthy enough for you to somehow, some way, get some productivity out of him on defense rather than special teams. You feel like you've built up some things in addition to the drafting of Keith Abney, who might be your starting quarterback.
That's a reality right now.
That's a complete reality. He is going to go into camp, I would guess, as if he's not starter number 1 opposite DJ Reed, he's number 2 on that depth chart on that side of the cornerback spot.
Who else would it be? I mean,
based on seniority, it could be Rock Yassin.
Sure.
Like I don't know the Lions' plans on having one guy on one side and if he's better on the other side. I don't know how often they do that stuff. But he played well enough in short sprints.
He had good moments for sure.
Nick Whiteside did the same thing. Doesn't mean I want him as a starter. I like him as fill-in guys, but I'm not sure about that. But those are 2 names. I would think it would be Keith Abney. Got to take a quick time out. It's 10 after the top of the hour here on X's and Bros. We're brought to this hour by Meyer.
Our state is Mecca for golf, and one of Michigan's crown jewels is Tullymore and St. Ives, two world-class championship courses in one charming and beautiful location. The golf is challenging but fair. You're going to use every club in your bag. But let me tell you what makes Tullymore really special. It's the people. From the wait staff to the bartenders to the pro shop and the management, their sole purpose is to give you a memorable experience, and they do. Go to TullymoreGolf.com today and experience a Michigan masterpiece.
Celebrate the soul of folk and Americana. The Lumineers Automatic World Tour comes to Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort Sunday night, July 19th, with special guest Josiah and the Bonnevilles, part of the Soaring Eagle Outdoor Summer Concert Series. Tickets start at $67 and are on sale now at the box office or online at etix.com. Showtime 8 p.m. See the Lumineers live with Josiah and the Bonnevilles, July 19th at Soaring Eagle Casino. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Huge here for the Carmody brothers and all the Buffalo Wild Wings locations in Michigan. They have some huge deals happening every week. Buy one boneless wing, get one free every Thursday. They also have their bottomless appetizers. Groups can get bottomless apps starting at $9.99, and they also have the Pick Six meal for two. Get two entrees, two sides, and two drinks starting at $19.99. That's happening at all Buffalo Wild Wings locations in Michigan. Huge deals every week. Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
18 after the hour. Welcome back. Yesterday, we didn't get to this. We were broadcasting live from Crystal Mountain and the Michigan Women's PGA. Yesterday was was an anniversary of some sort. It was in 1962, Sandy Koufax had thrown the first of his 4 no-hitters when he beat the Mets in a 5-0 game, and he had 13 strikeouts. He threw 4 career no-hitters. That is second most in history. Like, there have been 327 career no-hitters in Major League Baseball history. The first was Joe Borden. All right. That was back in 1875 by the Philadelphia White Stockings. So
White Stockings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you know that one?
Nope.
I know. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't either.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. This is some of the stuff I had this research done from yesterday, by the way. The latest were no-hitter. I don't believe in the combined no-hitters. If you're just talking about one guy, instead of a bunch of guys together. Reed Detmers by himself for the Angels over the Rays in 2022. I don't think there were any that I can recall a year ago. There was one by Houston. It was a combined no-hitter. 3 pitchers no-hit the Rangers. I called one no-hitter. I really thought Rodriguez was going to get one, but I called the Turnbull no-hitter. So Spencer Turnbull no-hit the Seattle Mariners, if you recall. That was a late night game that maybe some people may not have been able to stay up all night. It was the middle of May. It was in 2021. All right. So Spencer Turnbull, I think it was a 5-0 final too. You can look at that. Eric Haas was the catcher. You can check that out.
I remember listening to that one for sure.
Oh, you were listening to it instead of watching it. Thanks very much. Anyway, so that's the deal. The Tigers, I believe, have 9 no-hitters. Not like that's some type of record, because I don't believe it is. I think the Dodgers have the record at 26, which is interesting considering Nolan Ryan has more no-hitters than anybody else. He's got 7 no-hitters in his career. That's mind-blowing. I want you to think he has the all-time lead in no-hitters, 1-hitters, and 2-hitters.
Yeah, it's remarkable. I mean, trying to think about it right now compared to what we watch with pitching nowadays is just crazy.
It's not even close, is it?
No.
I'm not trying to name drop here, but because I did that event last night and Isaiah Thomas was at our table, I was talking to him about a lot of these different things that, in sports in general. Like he and I were talking about the Lions and Aiden Hutchinson. And he's like, they probably shouldn't have spent as much money on him, because then you can afford maybe somebody else who could help them defensively. And I said, well, what about the money with Goff? What about the money with Amon-Ra St. Brown? Was that too much money? Those are some of the things that I think about right away, because it's not that I think Aiden Hutchinson, I would have spent the money on him. Okay, I don't know about you, I would have done that. It's the Jared Goff contract that bothers me a little bit. Like which one bothers you the most? From a Lions standpoint, which one bothers you the most?
Of all the contracts in their team, just being
of the long-term deals, which ones bother you the most?
Because they still haven't signed. What is it? Branch is not got the contract right.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that.
I'm trying to think if there's any player I'm forgetting before I say that. Well, did they re-sign Kirby Joseph to a long-term deal?
Yeah, they did that before last year.
I mean, we don't even know when we're seeing him next.
But safeties have overtaken him. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, when he signed his deal, he was the highest paid wide receiver. Now he's I believe 6th. Okay, Aiden Hutchinson is 3rd. Jared Goff has dropped 2, but Jared Goff, you were talking about $53 million. It's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
Okay, I know it's a premier position. Is defensive end a premier position?
Yeah,
absolutely it is. Okay, so Aiden Hutchinson with $45 million. I said to Isaiah and other members who were at our table who were tending to agree with him, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. You could agree with him. I think more people were against me. I said, what do you need from a guy like Aiden Hutchinson who's going to make that much money? And they said, we need 20 sacks. I said, you need 20 sacks.
20 sacks.
Yeah. And they said, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. Then would you want Will Anderson? Would you want Will Anderson, who just signed the most expensive deal? Would you want him as your defensive end, as an edge rusher? Absolutely. I said, he's never had more than 12.
I say, man, 20 is a pretty crazy number to just throw out there if you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that is an absolute stupid number. Do you like Micah Parsons? So I said to them, do you like Micah Parsons? Of course I do. Never had more than 14. Like, where do people just pull numbers from? I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, 20
I'm not
is...
taking. Yeah, please don't take this the wrong way. I'm not taking anything away from Micah Parsons or Will Anderson Jr., who I love. I mean, I've said that time and time again. Where do you get the number of 20?
It's probably more about the high number there to ask of Aiden Hutchinson. That's just calling it a high number is generous, I feel like.
It's crazy. Who's the best pass rusher in the National Football League right now?
Myles Garrett.
For sure. How many 20 sack seasons did he have? Or has he had? I'm sorry.
Maybe one.
Correct. How many has TJ Watt had?
None.
One.
Okay.
So we just pull numbers
it's
out of the air. Like I'm just going to set this standard and tell everybody this is what it's got to be in order to justify it.
I understand wanting a lot out of Aiden Hutchinson, but yeah, you gotta look at what other people do before you just say he should get 20 sacks a season. You know what I mean? That's
I think so too. I'm not trying to tell you he's deserving. Is 14 and a half sacks enough for you?
It's pretty good.
It's pretty damn good.
Pretty good.
I mean, JJ Watt's one of the best, not TJ, but JJ, because he's retired now. JJ Watt's one of the better pass rushers we've seen in a long time. Okay. He won the Defensive Player of the Year, 3 times in his career? Is that right? 3 or twice? I'll have to look that up. But I'm pretty sure he's been Defensive Player of the Year 3 times. He had 20 sacks or more only twice in his career. 20 sacks it's hard to get to 20 sacks. Who's the best pass rusher of all time? I mean, statistic-wise, in a single season, they'll tell you that it's who? It's Michael Strahan, which is, I know. Anyway, Reggie White's one of the most dominating players of all time. 20 sacks or more once in his career. Bruce Smith, one of the best defensive ends of all time with the Buffalo Bills. How many times did he have 20 sacks or more? The answer to that is none. In fact, Aiden Hutchinson's 14 and a half last year, pretty damn close to what Bruce Smith did early in his NFL career when he had 15. The most he ever had was 19. That's still pretty damn good. I don't know where we've taken this bar and we've just raised it and we've made stuff up. It's crazy to think that, well, in order for you to make that much money, now in fairness, if you're going to argue against me, you're going to say Bruce Smith never made $45 million a year. Reggie White never made $45 million a year. JJ Watt never made $45 million a year. So I get with the money comes great responsibility.
Sure. Yep, absolutely. Like I said, so should expect a lot out of them. There's no question about that.
I'm expecting double-digit sacks minimum. I think the 14 to 15 sack season is realistic.
Gosh,
you're talking about a sack a game almost.
If you get that for multiple years and you had anybody on the other side of the line helping you out, I mean, you're talking about a great defensive line right there.
100%.
No question about it.
Although many people would argue that Myles Garrett hasn't had anybody helping him out on a regular basis. All right, quick timeout. About a little bit more than an hour from now, Amari Sankofa will join us here on X's and Bros and talk a little Pistons as we roll on a Wednesday morning on the Michigan Sports Network, brought to you by
The good life is firecracker savings at Meijer throughout the July 4th weekend. Load up your cart with summertime crowd pleasers like juicy burgers made with 80% lean ground beef. Now just $3.99 a pound on a 3-pound package or larger, limit 5. Sweeten your celebration with fresh favorites. Sweet corn, 4 for $1. And mini seedless watermelons or tender golden pineapples, buy one, get one for $1. Mix or match. Make the 4th your best yet with good life quality at real low prices. Only at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Huge here for my good friend Josh Garvey and the team at Dorn Mayhew, West Michigan. One of the world's top accounting, CPA, and business firms. Our worldwide headquarters are in Troy, Michigan, on the east side of the state. And Josh and his team connect with all the sports fans and businesses across Michigan. They bring you John Beeline on the Huge Show. They bring you Lomas Brown during the Lion season. They are a top shelf team when it comes to growth and understanding what their clients need. And mix in when we do the Beat Huge contests or the NCAA March Madness brackets. Thank you, Josh Garvey, for what you do for the Huge Show and the Michigan Sports Network. Simple and easy. Just find Dorn Mayhew on all the social networks or just Google Dorn Mayhew and find out how they can help your business. And again, a special thanks to Josh Garvey and the Dorn Mayhew team in West
The
Michigan.
Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
I said this the other day. I'm not asking Tigers fans to jump on board and believe because suddenly they've won a series over the Yankees. I don't operate in baseball space like that. I try not to be too reactive, too hyperbolic, whatever phrase you want to use, because I think it's ridiculous. I think it's, people just, they're riding that consistent wave that baseball brings you. I think you have to be realistic about some things. You're going to have a season or two where it's a little stranger than others. Last year was strange when Detroit jumped out to a massive lead and then, just fell apart and was able to hold on. Or maybe Cleveland just got hot. It was a combination of both, right? Or the year before when Detroit started out like crap and then came on strong to make the playoffs. Those are more anomalies than anything else. But what I've said is, if you want to believe, that's your choice. I'll give you credit. I love that you're a glass half full person. And I said, if you don't believe, here's what you try to do. Look at the other side of things. I hope people try to balance. They use a little bit of logic both sides. If you want to believe in the Tigers, there's a reason to do that. And the big reason might be what? They're starting pitching. And I said, playoff series, oftentimes, they're a little bit shorter. You can turn your starting staff from 5 or 6 into 3 or 4. And look at what the starters have done over the last 6 games. Well, hell, look at what Mize and Skubal just did the last 2 games to New York. 13 innings pitched, 19 strikeouts, no walks, 2 hits, 1 earned run. Those are the last 2 starts by your 2 best pitchers. Over the last 6 games, this starting staff has thrown 37 innings. They've got a 1.46 ERA, and they've got 39 punch-outs. That's pretty damn good, right? Like everyone's talking about the home runs, and I get it because they just finished the month of June with 49 bombs. After hitting 5 last night in a 9-3 win in New York, they have 49 bombs for the month of June. That ties a franchise record, okay? Somebody put this out there. Across 700-plus regular season months in the 126-year history of the Detroit Tigers, the 49 homers has been matched just once, and that was August of 1937. That's crazy to think about. Only twice in American League history has a team had its starter strike out 9 batters or more while allowing 2 or fewer hits in 3 straight games. That's exactly what the Tigers have just done. The Tigers did it with Flaherty and Mize and Skubal. Each one of them, 9 strikeouts or more, 2 or fewer hits. All right? The other time was 2013, Verlander, Anibal Sanchez, Max Scherzer. So you want to believe in the starting rotation. I don't blame you one damn bit. They've been outstanding. This is
what it was supposed to be, right?
This is what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
100%. They haven't allowed more than 4 runs in 33 straight outings.
That's impressive, man.
Yeah.
I knew it was good. I didn't know it was that good.
That's tied for the longest single season streak in franchise history. That's from the Tigers PR. 33 consecutive outings. The starters have not allowed more than 4 runs. I hope I'm not jinxing them. I don't believe in
Would they
that
go
stuff.
in June then in total? Was it 15-11 or 16?
15-11.
Okay.
15-11, which tells you about the bullpen.
Right. Exactly.
I think people should be more encouraged about, the home runs. But I want you to think about this. You got to win 3. You're best of 3. I'm sorry. Best of 3 in a wild card, right? Your starting rotation in that wild card could be, in no particular order, it would be Skubal. You do Mize and then Valdez, or Valdez then Mize. I don't care. That's pretty formidable, don't you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, you'd be happy with the starting pitching. The problem is you'd be nervous if the game is close.
Well, here's the other thing. Yes, you'd be nervous once your starting pitcher is relieved, and you got to remember you've got to hit in order for your team.
That's another part of it too.
Okay.
Yep. So in most of those games, you're not going to get the 7-0 lead or the 9 whatever lead they had last night. That's not going to happen in a playoff game usually. So
not regularly. You're right about that. ALDS, right? You got to get to 5 wins, correct? Or no?
That is correct.
Five games. I'm sorry.
It's 5 games. Yeah.
3 out of 5. Yeah. 5 games. So your starting rotation could be. I mean, if you went 3 in the first round, your starting rotation could be Melton, Montero, and then back to Skubal, Mize, Valdez.
And you're feeling pretty good about getting one of those 2 wins, like to start.
Well, it depends on who you're playing, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like if I'm Seattle, I feel pretty good about my rotation.
Still. Yeah.
Okay, right. If Max Fried comes back, even though Schlittler schlit the bed last night, pun intended, you could feel pretty good with if you had Garrett Cole and you had Max Fried and you had Carlos Rodon and you had Cam Schlittler. There are worse rotations than that, are there not?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then you got to get to you're going to play at least 7 games in the ALCS. Then you would have the Skubal, the Mize, the Valdez, the Melton, the Montero, the Skubal, the Mize. So you would feel pretty good about all that, I would guess. That's the glass half full, people. And I respect the hell out of that. I'm not in that camp right now because I think that's a really difficult thing for us to grasp. And I haven't seen enough of that from this team. But I understand why some people look at the positive side of things with this Detroit Tigers team. I had mentioned Nolan Ryan earlier because we were talking about Sandy Koufax, and that yesterday was the anniversary of his first no-hitter back in 1962 when they beat the Mets 5-0. His 4 no-hitters are second most to Nolan Ryan's 7. And then I had mentioned Nolan Ryan has more 1-hitters and 2-hitters than anybody else. Nolan Ryan has 12 career 1-hitters, which is tied with Bob Feller, by the way. 18 career 2-hitters, 31 career 3-hitters. That's incredible. Like, if you go down various rabbit holes of certain players, I have a tendency to do this in baseball. When you see a guy who's got 15 seasons of 200 strikeouts or more, that's what Nolan Ryan had. 15 seasons of 200 strikeouts or more. That blows your mind. We think Tarek Skubal is the best of the lot, correct? He's had 2 seasons of 200 strikeouts or more. And he's played 7 years. And he's not going to get him this year, I don't think. No way. I mean, he's got 75 strikeouts. So I don't think he's getting them this year. Anyway, let me get to a text. You can text us, Sports Radio 21,000. Shep, we're talking about a Super Bowl window, obvious by the contracts they handed out, courtesy of the Lions. This town is talking about going with 4 A players in the back 7. DJ Reed, will he get better now? McCreary, Roger McCreary, Rock Yassin. The confidence in Abney is laughable. They at worst are Ryan Rayburn. You play that much, you'll get exposed. I think a lot of cornerbacks will get exposed if you play a lot, and because of the way the league is. And I saw a Dallas Braden, who does the analyst work for the Athletics, was talking about how people are complaining about baseball, and yet why don't we ever do that with other sports and how they've progressed? Football, for example. And he brought up a really good point. Now more of a passing league, spread offenses, and things of the like. You're not. There's no Deion Sanders and Charles Woodson anymore. Okay, because you're throwing so often. Not to say there's not great quarterbacks, because there are. But, I mean, to compare certain guys to a Ryan Rayburn is laughable. It is. I mean, that's just not fair. And we don't know what those guys would do. Look, in fairness to you, when you're telling me this guy hasn't been a starter his entire career or hasn't been good enough to be a starter, then yes, I understand why you'd be frustrated and why they don't have more of a I guess a backup plan or a depth within that secondary of high level proven players. But to compare to a Ryan Rayburn who, spent 12 years, in case people don't know, in Major League Baseball, bouncing around from Detroit to Cleveland and Colorado, and I think he played a year or two in Washington or whatever, 250 hitter. I think that's just ridiculous. Now, DJ Reed did not perform the way neither you nor I expected a year ago, nor the Lions, for crying out loud. Forget you and I. He's got to have a bounce back season in order for this team to be successful. I don't agree that Detroit didn't address the secondary. They still have time to do that. I would like to see them go out and get another cornerback, a free agent. Russell Douglas might be a good guy who would fit, for example. Would that change your mind? Probably not. Probably not, because you get two safeties that are injured, and you've got a massive hole at one cornerback spot, and you've got another cornerback spot where the guy did not live up to his contract. Okay. Is he going to get better now? Why can't he get better? Like, if he's more familiar, probably a little bit of an excuse for him, but if he's more familiar with the defense that Kelvin Shepard has, like, what is it when you say, can he get better now? Why can't he get better this year compared to where he was his last year in New York? He could absolutely get there. I mean, he's never been a high interception guy. This is why I always talk about, what are your expectations? This dude's played 8 years, DJ Reed. He's played 8 years in the National Football League. He's got eight interceptions. What is it you expect? It's quarterback completion percentage against, right? How often are they going to be picking on him? Might not be picking on him. Might be picking on the rookie or the fill-in guy on the other side.
Yeah, that's what you want. I mean, you kind of want to take away a side of the field, right? I mean, that's like, if you get a cornerback that can do that, that's usually a good thing.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going into a season against the Lions and saying, we're not going to be able to throw on this team.
No way. That's not what they're saying.
There's no fly zone.
No shot they're saying that.
Nope. But I would remind you that
maybe 2 years ago.
But we act like Roger McCreary is this scrap that we've taken him off the scrap heap. He's got 38 starts. Okay. I mean, and he did it primarily in one place, Tennessee, and a little bit with the Rams. I like the signing. I thought it was a good signing. So we'll see what happens there. Shep, what this town should be talking about is doing uncomfortable things to acquire a great cornerback. You may have to discuss trading Laporta or Gibbs or picks, since either is not signed and helps the cap. That money needs to be focused on the back seven, not a running back with 2 years left who had one great game last year versus a bad New York Giants team.
Whoa.
I would, first of all, I'd have no problem. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't have any problem trading Sam Laporta for a number one corner. Would you?
No, that'd be just fine. That was the okay part of the text to me. Jahmyr Gibbs, though?
Well, somebody's going to – here's the thing. Somebody's going to have to run the football.
Yeah, and like he's –
so okay, but
2 years left or not, you still have him for those 2 years, and he's been a huge part of why your offense has been good.
Right. You want a number one corner. Sauce Gardner's number one corner. He signed for $120.5 million. Derek Stingley's a number one corner. He signed for $120 million. J.C. Horn's a number one corner. He signed for $100 million. Jalen Ramsey's a number one corner. He signed for over, well over $70 million. Patrick Surtain's one of the best players in football.
Yep.
He signed for $25 million a year. You think getting rid of Sam Laporta or Jahmyr Gibbs on their rookie deals, trading them for a guy who makes that much money is going to help you? Yes, on the field, of course. Can you afford him? The answer to that is no.
Yeah, there's no shot.
This is not a one-for-one situation. I had this conversation last night with people at the Detroit Athletic Club when I was doing this event with Richard Hamilton, Isaiah Thomas, and Rick Mahorn. And somebody asked Richard Hamilton about the drafting of Darko Milicic. Why not take Carmelo Anthony? And Hamilton told a great story about how Carmelo Anthony went and watched the Pistons play in New Jersey, I believe, and actually said to Richard Hamilton, I mean, I just met with Joe. They're going to draft it. You guys are going to draft me. And then something happened, obviously, with Darko and the workout that he had. And Tony Ranzoni, who was the European scout and famous for drafting Dirk Nowitzki, really must have gotten somebody's ear.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Something ended up happening.
But people were asking, what if you had Carmelo Anthony? How many championships would you win? And I said, you can't even talk about that because Detroit may not have made certain moves. They may have traded for Rasheed Wallace. They may not have brought in certain guys. How do you know what would have happened? So to just say, take this guy out and put this guy in might be easy for a conversation and some type of people's narrative, but it's not as simple as you think. You want to trade Sam Laporta for a number one corner? Great. Give me the number one corner. First of all, tight ends are not going for number one corners. Give me the number one corner and give me how you're going to put them under your cap. I'm sure they've thought about something like that. But you're going to have to trade more than just Laporta or even Gibbs. And Gibbs is a vital piece to your offense. Isaiah Pacheco's not doing what Jahmyr Gibbs does, okay? He's not. And I know a lot of people feel like running backs can get a little overrated. I understand that. I'm not one of those guys who would sign running backs long-term, all right? Derrick Henry's a bit of a freak to continue to do what he's doing. I did see a CBS Sports poll the other day. They ranked the top running backs. Who do you think's number one?
Bijan Robinson.
He
Gotta
is.
be.
Where do you think Jahmyr Gibbs is?
Number 2.
No, he's number 3. They got Christian McCaffrey.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Okay, not that it's the Bible, but I'm just saying.
No, but that seems to be the top 3 generally.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Here's what they write. Jahmyr Gibbs is the catalyst that makes the Lions offense go. He rushed for well over 1,200 yards, caught 77 passes, averaged 5 yards per rush, should get more carries this season. Hard to just automatically get rid of a guy like that.
I understand the running back health is like always something that people put in question, but I just don't. Jahmyr Gibbs has become an integral part of this team. I don't know how you can trade him right now.
He is a vital piece to this team's offense. This is more important than anything else. He's still on his rookie deal.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so you're going to have another year next year. Maybe he'll be disgruntled. I don't know.
Sure.
But why would you trade a guy who you already have control over? Like this is what Isaiah and I were talking about. He was talking about the Houston Texans and how they've got 2 defensive ends. And look at what they've done. I'm like, yeah, well, Will Anderson just signed a big deal. Danielle Hunter makes a lot of money. I said, but here's the thing you're forgetting. They have a quarterback on his rookie deal. While the Lions are spending $50+ million on their quarterback, the Houston Texans are not on theirs. That's where a big-time, quote-unquote, window comes into play. We'll get to some more of your texts here on X's and Bros on a Wednesday morning. We're brought to you by Meyer. Thanks for being with us. Omari Sankofa, the Free Press, joins us at the bottom of this 8 o'clock hour.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Celebrate the soul of folk and Americana. The Lumineers Automatic World Tour comes to Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort Sunday night, July 19th, with special guest Josiah and the Bonnevilles, part of the Soaring Eagle Outdoor Summer Concert Series. Tickets start at $67 and are on sale now at the box office or online at etix.com. Showtime 8 p.m. See the Lumineers live with Josiah and the Bonnevilles, July 19th at Soaring Eagle Casino. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Huge here for the incredible Crystal Mountain Resort in Thompsonville, Michigan. If you've never experienced the mountain, it's unbelievable. They offer up 36 holes of championship golf, Betsy Valley, Mountain Ridge, accommodations, a ton of choices. Go to crystalmountain.com, see everything for yourself. One of the top spas in America. They can handle businesses, small groups, big groups, your buddies, the ladies, and more. Book your getaway now at crystalmountain.com. That's crystalmountain.com.
Farrah's Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The Huge Show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Rod Stewart returns to Soaring Eagle Thursday, September 3rd. The Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series with special guest Richard Marks. Tickets start at $71 and are on sale now at the box office and etix.com. One last time, Rod Stewart with Richard Marks, September 3rd, SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Where are you watching the Tigers this year? Superfly Hayes here for Detroit Sports Net. Sign up like the Huge Show did with the Detroit Sports Net Tigers Wings package. Subscription info at tigers.com and MLB.com.
You know what today is, right? Andy, are you well aware? Besides the start of July.
I don't know. What is today? No.
It's Bobby Bonilla Day.
Okay.
All right. Do you know what that is?
Nope. Still don't know.
Okay. So Bobby Bonilla is 63 years old.
Sure.
Okay. He's cashing a check for $1.2 million from the Mets. He also gets an additional $500,000 from the Orioles based on a January 2000 contract deferral. That was for the Orioles. He deferred so much money when he signed with the Mets. He's getting almost $2 million annually since he retired. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
what he did in order to get this type of deal, in order for him to get this type of security, if you will. Like, do you know when the last time Bobby Bonilla played?
I don't.
2001.
It's pretty impressive. I imagine they would make that a holiday or something for him and his family.
It basically is. It basically is. This is year 16, Andy, of him getting $1.2 million.
I've definitely heard about this now that you're talking about it. Like I've definitely heard about him getting this amount of money. That's insane. It
is insane. It is one of the most bizarre deals you could ever imagine.
Seriously. I can imagine just waking up and being like, all right, I'm going to cash that check.
When he signed with the Mets, he hit $160 for 60 games with them. So the team wanted to buy out his contract in 2000. And what they did is they agreed to defer the remaining $6 million sum with 8% interest spread across from 2011 through 2035. So until 2035, Bobby Bonilla is going to make $2 million a year on July 1st, courtesy of the New York Mets. Is that incredible or what?
Pretty nice of him.
Just amazing. Simply amazing.
Yeah, it isn't. That's one of those things you would feel like, how do you work your way into something like that? Like,
I know.
People just don't understand like how that's even possible. You
know? But there are players who have done it.
Right.
Max Scherzer remember, he left Detroit for Washington, deferred a lot of payments. He's going to make $15 million just from the Nationals through to 2027. He also did that with the Dodgers. He's making $15 million through the Dodgers through 2028. Chris Davis, home run hitter for the Baltimore Orioles. He's got deferred $3.5 million payments from the Orioles through 2032. And then another $1.5 million through 2037. Manny Ramirez. This is the final year of his $2 million deferral. Ryan Braun has, the former Brewer, he has $1.8 million deferred through 2031. Liam Hendricks is going to make $1.5 million from the White Sox because he deferred it through 2033. Lorenzo Cain did it with the Brewers. He's going to make $1 million annually through 2027. And Brett Saberhagen, believe it or not, he did it to the Mets, but his was only $250,000 through 2028. Still, those are deferrals, and that's why some people in Major League Baseball are really excited about that. Let me get to some more text here. Shep, Lions organization and Tigers organization mirror each other. One can't fix the bullpen since 1984. Lions with no cornerback since 1960s. Agreed with that for the most part. The Lions, look, the frustration for the Lions is everybody's tired of it, right? I mean, the 1960s, is that fair? No. Lem Barney played through the late 1970s, so that's not fair at all. Darius Slay was a really good player. Dre Bly was a really good player. Are they the equivalent to Deion Sanders? No. I mean, Lem Barney's a Hall of Famer. I'll take a talent like Darius Slay in my secondary on a regular basis. But I think the point is, from the texter, and it's a fair point, they have not been able to Scout, draft, develop, all the above. Cornerbacks very well. If you believe certain schools have linebacker U, Penn State. If you think some were running back U, USC back in the day. Quarterback U, Miami of Florida. Then, and I suppose even today, wide receiver would be LSU. Then you would say the opposite. The polar opposite is the teams that cannot get certain positions right. And you could argue that the Lions and cornerbacks would go hand in hand in that regard. Shep, what is even worse than the Goff contract? No legit backup plan to play if he got hurt in the future taking over. Agreed. That's well said. Now, Detroit hasn't necessarily had to use him. To me, it's borderline malpractice not to have that in place. I'm not even sure they still have it in place. I don't want Teddy Bridgewater taking a snap of football this year. Luke Altmaier, I don't know. It's okay to say that. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater's 33. Is that old? No, it's not. I just don't trust his. I just don't trust him under center. Luke Altmaier, the only reason people are even excited about that is because he's a name you hadn't. He's a young player. He's an undrafted free agent. He was surprised he was undrafted. Let's see what he's got in camp. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe he's a practice squad guy. Who knows? But I agree with the texter. It's ridiculous that this team has not planned for such. Shep, 4 first-round quarterbacks in 40 years. Chuck Long. Yeah, Chuck Long was a good player. They threw his arm out. He was running first and second team in camp, and it was malpractice, coaching malpractice. Andre Ware, understood, Heisman Trophy winner, got through for a lot of yards. Ridiculous that he was just he wasn't good enough. Remember, they were running the run and shoot back then, and he ran that at Houston. I understood the draft. I'll have to go back and look at that for a minute. When he was drafted, people were super excited because of how good he was in college. He's a really good example of a guy not being able to translate. Look, had everything you could want. He was big enough at 6'2", 6'2.5", 210 pounds or so. Numbers at Houston were ridiculous. Who would have ever thought he would have started just 6 games in his entire NFL career and go 3-3? Horrid. Rarely gets brought up, but it's a good example. Joey Harrington, Matt Stafford, on an organization that has never figured out that position or prepared for it, and if it didn't work. They had the chance in 1983, passed on Kelly and Marino for a fullback. Okay. So I would remind you, not that you necessarily need it, there were a lot of teams. Remember, Jim Kelly went and played in the USFL. So if the Lions drafted Jim Kelly, you know what everybody would be saying? They'd be saying, you can't sign the guy. Why would you draft him? The 1983 draft, it's convenient to go back to that. That's when John Elway, Hall of Famer, Eric Dickerson, Hall of Famer, Jimbo Covert, Hall of Famer, was part of it. Bruce Matthews is Hall of Famer. Jim Kelly, obviously. Jim Kelly was drafted 14th. The Lions that year drafted James Jones, okay, who was an okay player, but he sure wasn't. Remember, there are plenty of other teams other than the Lions. New England drafted Tony Flippin Eason, okay? Kansas City, who is known as one of the elite franchises, they drafted Todd Blackledge, for crying out loud. So, yes, Dan Marino should have been taken. He was taken 27th out of 28. You know who else should have been taken? Darrell Green. He was drafted after Dan Marino. You could have taken either one of them. There's a lot of teams, 26 to be exact, who passed on Dan Marino. But we don't care about those. We care about our team, and I don't blame you. So, yes, should have taken him. Should have taken a guy like Jim Kelly. Would have been fine, all that stuff. I get it, because Kelly was taken right after James Jones. Tony Eason went to New England, as I mentioned. Ridiculous. Hell, Willie Gault, Joey Browner, those guys were all taken. You could have taken them too. There's a lot of teams that miss. We just seem to highlight a lot of the the glaring ones that the Lions have had. We're back after this, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
In the Den with Dan Dickerson.
It's a new day to celebrate and be free. It's a new day full of action and excitement because it's a day for winning. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, your getaway reimagined. We've just closed the books on June, and it's worth taking a look back at just how good the Tigers were on both sides of the ball, even if their one-loss record didn't reflect it. The pitching was quietly very good. The Tigers had the lowest ERA in the American League. The offense had the second highest OPS, the second most home runs, and averaged 5 runs a game. In May, they averaged just under 3 runs a game. Getting Carpenter and Torres back certainly helped, but it was really a renewed commitment to hitting the fastball that led the way to the massive improvement. Being timed up to the fastball not only leads to more home runs, it also allows you to cover more pitches and hit more pitches hard. The rotation is coming together. The offense is starting to click. The win total didn't reflect how good the Tigers were on both sides of the ball in June. Let's see if another calendar flip changes things.
Huge here for the Carmody brothers and all the Buffalo Wild Wings locations in Michigan. They have some huge deals happening every week. Buy one boneless wing, get one free every Thursday. They also have their bottomless appetizers. Groups can get bottomless apps starting at $9.99, and they also have the Pick 6 meal for 2. Get 2 entrees, 2 sides, and 2 drinks starting at $19.99. That's happening at all Buffalo Wild Wings locations in Michigan. Huge deals every week.
Where are you watching the Tigers this year? Superfly Hayes here for Detroit Sportsnet. Sign up like the Ute Show did with the Detroit Sportsnet Tigers Wings package. Subscription info at tigers.com and MLB.com.
Coming up later today at 3 on the Huge Show on the Michigan Sports Network, I'll deliver huge opinions on everything you're talking about.
Hey, let me ask you this question, and then we'll move on. We've got the daily wager that we've got to update, and we have the final results in the poll question before Amari Sankofa joins us at the bottom of the hour. With the Lions releasing Terrion Arnold, do you think that means that they failed developing a player?
Well, you didn't get to see the development, I guess, fully through, but I mean, it's hard to argue that it's failed, I guess, because he's not
It's
here
hard
anymore.
It's hard to argue that they didn't fail. You mean,
as in, like, they didn't get the chance to develop him?
No, that they failed with the pick. The pick is a failure.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yes.
Okay,
At this point, I don't think you could really. I mean, you could try
It's
to.
hard to argue that they didn't fail.
Yeah, how
is
can
my
you say
point.
that? Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't. I mean, even when he was playing, he wasn't the guy you drafted him to be where he was drafted at, probably. So.
Yeah, I think, and if you listened to any of our show yesterday, we had college coach Jeff Jenick on, and we were talking about cornerbacks. The challenges of the transition to the next level. Sauce Gardner is a really good example. Sauce Gardner, unbelievable rookie season. Year 2, not so much, then gets traded, right? So was that a failure by the Jets? He's no longer on your team. Do you understand where I'm coming?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. I would say so.
And I'm not saying that should be the bar. But I mean, he is a 2-time Pro Bowler. But everybody admits, the Jets, first year, look, he was an All-Pro. He was a Defensive Rookie of the Year. Okay. The next year, he was first-team All-Pro. Then it was a stumble. And then he gets traded. So I was a little ahead of myself. It was first 2 years really good, then a stumble, then gets traded. And he's still a young guy. I don't want to be compared to the New York Jets. I don't know why any football franchise would.
They've had plenty of their failures over their
absolutely.
Time. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
not that the Lions haven't either. But
they do have a Super Bowl, and our franchise doesn't. But I digress. It is a failure that they didn't get it with Terrion Arnold. That doesn't mean that this regime and the organization in general under this regime has failed. They still have, Mike Payton, A to Z Sports, put this out the other day. They still have 33 of the 43 players they've drafted since 2021.
It's impressive.
Here are the players they don't have. Sure, they don't have Arnold. Hendon Hooker. How many people would have been wrong about him?
Yeah, that was a bad one. There's no question about that.
Jamar Jefferson. Broderick Martin, problem. Josh Paschal, problem. James Houston, problem. Antoine Green, James Mitchell, Chad Lucas, Melifonwu. Is it really failure? Failure comes in wins and losses for most of us, right? They have not done what you expected them to do. They had a chance to get to the Super Bowl. They blew it in the second half against San Francisco. They had a legitimate chance to get to the Super Bowl at 15-2. They blew it at home. Last year, maybe you want to give them a little bit of a pass. They still have 10 starters. They still have an All-Pro in Kirby Joseph, an All-Pro in Amon-Ra St. Brown, an All-Pro in Aiden Hutchinson, an All-Pro in Penei Sewell, what could be an All-Pro in Jahmyr Gibbs. And they've got a lot of starting pieces. So when somebody gets upset and says, you know what, Shep, this is why they've got to do something bold. Maybe it's because they've never done anything like that before.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean?
I think that is the biggest thing for a lot of people, that they haven't done that. You can, again, I love the point, because you can point to all the draft picks that have worked out or how many people are still there. At the end of the day, if you're not getting to the Super Bowl and doing what people expect you to do during this time, it's ultimately going to be a failure. That's it's crazy to think about, because this has been the best Lions football in my life and probably some of the best in your life. And it still would be that way. So
100%. Well said. End of the day. Good job, LeBron. Did you see this 2 nights ago when the Dodgers played the Athletics? It's something that is, I don't think it's ever happened. The Dodgers played the A's. In the lineup for the Los Angeles Dodgers, batting 7th and playing third base, was Max Muncy. He was born on August 25th. Okay? August 25th, Max Muncy, I'm trying to think of how old he is, 1990. Okay? Batting 7th and playing, and he was playing third base. So Max Muncy, born August 25th, 1990, drafted by the A's, I might add, but playing for the Dodgers, playing third base and batting 7th. Got it? Okay.
I do.
Batting 7th for the A's, Max Muncy, born August 25th, 2002, 12 years later, but same date, drafted by the A's, playing third base, batting 7th.
That's one of the weirder things I've ever heard.
It made me, I had to do like a double and a triple take. I could not believe it. Both teams at third base playing 7th or batting 7th were Max Muncy, both of them drafted by the A's, and both of them born on the same date. Same day, not date.
That's
same day.
Just an odd, really odd thing.
I'm
not a stat,
never
just an odd, quirk. I don't know.
never in my lifetime have I ever heard.
I did
All right,
not see that.
Let's get to the final results of our poll question. Thanks for reading the rundown. Just kidding. Do you agree that the Lions should have released Terrion Arnold? Yes or no?
The results were yes, 88%, and no, 12%. So.
Okay, so most people agree with
I mean,
that.
it's hard to argue that I think the Lions did the right thing there.
I agree. No, hard to argue they didn't do the right thing. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. If you argue that they did the right thing,
said that wrong.
They did the right thing, yeah. So our Mitch Lineswell poll question today, what would you want the Pistons, or do you want the Pistons to sign LeBron James as a free agent, yes or no? You can vote right now. Andy's tweeted it out there. I have retweeted it. Let's get to the Daily Wager. It's brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort and their sportsbook Ascend. What was it last night? How did you do?
Well, we're adding a couple new things in, so I want to let the listeners know about that. So if I get it right in the future, you're going to hear this. Okay, simple as that, right? If I get it wrong, you're going to hear. I'm going to have to deal with that.
I don't want people booing Andy McDonald
all the way through.
That's not cool.
I'm even letting it go.
That's not cool at all.
I deserve it if I get it wrong. That's how much I care about it, people.
Okay.
So, last night,
well done, Dan Campbell. Okay, go ahead.
Last night was so we're good there.
All right.
8 strikeouts is what I bet. That was plus money for him. He got 9 last night, so that was a win. Tonight I'm going with Matt's favorite again, soccer. USA is in action. Simple as this: -1.5 USA is plus 110. I think they're going to win by at least 2 tonight. They're pretty heavy favorites for the first time in the knockout round in a long time. They haven't won in the knockout round since 2002. They're playing against Bosnia. I have a coworker who is Bosnian. He went to both games in Seattle for them. So this has been a big thing in our group chat going back and forth. So that just added to it tonight for me. So I'm fired up for a soccer game, Shep. I'm going -1.5. USA.
Are you watching it? 8 o'clock tonight?
I'm definitely watching it. Yeah,
okay.
100%.
All right. It's in Santa Clara, right? It's where the Niners play. It's at Levi Stadium.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. When we come back, we're going to dive back into basketball. Amari Sankofa will join us. We will talk about what's going on with Jalen Duren. We'll talk about what's going on with Duncan Robinson. We'll talk about what's going on with Tobias Harris, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, and the landscape that is free agency in the NBA. It's, as Andy and I were talking about earlier, it's stunning, quite honestly. It's stunning that a team that won 60 games could look so differently. So we'll ask him about that and a whole lot more. Stay with us. This is X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network, and we're brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
In the Den with Dan Dickerson.
It's a new day to celebrate and be free. And it's a new day full of action and excitement because it's a day for winning. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, your getaway reimagined. We've just closed the books on June, and it's worth taking a look back at just how good the Tigers were on both sides of the ball, even if their one-loss record didn't reflect it. The pitching was quietly very good. The Tigers had the lowest ERA in the American League. The offense had the second highest OPS Urias the second most home runs and averaged 5 runs a game. In May, they averaged just under 3 runs a game. Getting Carpenter and Torres back certainly helped, but it was really a renewed commitment to hitting the fastball that led the way to the massive improvement. Being timed up to the fastball not only leads to more home runs, it also allows you to cover more pitches and hit more pitches hard. The rotation is coming together. The offense is starting to click. The win total didn't reflect how good the Tigers were on both sides of the ball in June. Let's see if another calendar flip changes things.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu. Van Andel Institute Purple Community is a grassroots fundraising network powered by the dedicated volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve human health now and in the future. When you raise funds through the Van Andel Institute Purple Community, 100% of the proceeds go directly to the Institute's research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's, as well as VAI's science education programs. Learn how you can get involved at purplecommunity.org.
The good life is firecracker savings at Meijer throughout the July 4th weekend. Load up your cart with summertime crowd pleasers like juicy burgers made with 80% lean ground beef. Now just $3.99 a pound on a 3-pound package or larger, limit 5. Sweeten your celebration with fresh favorites. Sweet corn, 4 for $1. And mini seedless watermelons or tender golden pineapples, buy one, get one for $1. Mix or match. Make the 4th your best yet with good life quality at real low prices. Only at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Back with you here on X's and Bros 35 after the hour. Breaking news, John Collins has signed a 3-year, $51 million deal with the Detroit Pistons. Amari Sankofa is all over it. I know his time is precious. He might have to leave early, and I get that. So we'll keep him as long as he's available. So don't be afraid to say, I got to go. What are your thoughts on John Collins becoming a Piston and helping Cade Cunningham, Amari?
Hey, thanks for having me. And yeah, I only have a couple minutes here, but John Collins directly addresses their need, power forward. Obviously, last year they really only had Tobias Harris at the position. John can come in, he can play the 4 or 5, knock down threes. He's a rim running threat, so just a really versatile player for him.
Was he on your radar? And do you think there were better choices, or is this as good as it gets?
Yeah, he was on my radar, and whether it's as good as it gets, I think we have to see. I don't think they're quite done, but I thought that this was a realistic outcome for them, just based on who was out there in free agency.
Where does it stand with Jalen Duren right now, in your thoughts?
They still want him back. There's a standoff negotiation-wise, obviously, and we'll see how it plays out. He's reportedly meeting with the Los Angeles Lakers, but the Pistons can match any deal at the end of the day, so they still have the upper hand.
Why won't they bring Tobias Harris and Duncan Robinson back?
Well, we still have to see, but they're they have two paths, but if they want cap space, the cap space path requires them to part ways with Duncan and Tobias Harris. There's just no way around that. They have Tobias's cap hold because they have his bird rights, and then Duncan is only partially guaranteed for $2 million. So if they want cap space, they have to part ways with those guys, and it's pretty either or. They can't do both.
All right, and lastly, because I know you got to go, tell me the other names, or tell us the other names that you think Detroit could possibly see as a fit here financially and ability-wise.
Well, John Collins does kind of switch things up. His contract looks like it's a bit above the mid-level exception. So if they did go cap space, then that changes what else is available to them. So wish I had a firmer answer for that, but the John Collins news does change the math a bit. So I'm in the midst of figuring out what's available to him now.
All right. Well, congratulations on helping break this news. We appreciate the time. Have a great week, my friend.
All right, thanks. You too.
Understand that. Amari Sankofa had to roll quickly, and we get it. So here's what they're getting in John Collins.
Yeah, well, I mean, what are the odds, right?
Yeah, I know. He was an all-rookie member with the LA Clippers. Okay. I'm sorry, with the Atlanta Hawks. He was recently with the Clippers. So he played in Atlanta. He played 6 years there. Played a couple of years in Utah, and last year played with the Clippers. His best year, scoring-wise, was his third year in the league. All right. He's still a young man. He's not an old guy at all. He's 28 years old. All right. So when you've got that, he's got a lot of really good basketball ahead of him. But his third year, he averaged 21.5 points and he averaged 10 rebounds. So he's going to give them for his career, he's a guy who's averaged 16 points and about 8 rebounds a game. We can all get caught up in numbers. All right. What is it you're looking for? He has addressed a certain need, but it's the Tobias Harris need. He hasn't addressed the most glaring need, which is what? 3-point shooting.
100%. Yep.
Okay. John Collins is not answering what they lost with Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr., and now they could be losing in Duncan Robinson. I want you to think about it for a second. I'm not dissing what Trajan Langdon's plan is, because I still trust that he's going to get it done. But think about this. 2 years ago, they had Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley making threes. And then they traded for Dennis Schroeder, and he helped that cause a little bit too. But primarily, it was Beasley and Hardaway Jr., and the amount of threes that they made. We're talking about over 400, over 350 triples. Okay. No, over 400 triples. I'm sorry. How are you going to make that up? We said this last year. Others have to be able to shoot the three, and you're going to need Duncan Robinson to make a lot of threes. Well, Duncan Robinson made a ton of threes last year for the Pistons. Now you're talking about getting rid of him because of a salary cap dump to create some money. How are you going to make up you're still trying to catch yourself from 2 years ago of the guys who made threes. Like Duncan Robinson made 220 triples last year. That's the fourth time in his career he's made 200 threes or more. It wasn't enough to offset what they lost, but it went a long way, okay? Now, what you were hoping for going into another year was you get Duncan Robinson with another 200 triples and another three-point shooter to give you maybe 200. Then you've offset what you lost from 2 years ago. Now what are you doing? Now you're losing Duncan Robinson in all likelihood. That's 220 triples. And on top of that, you still haven't made up for the ground you lost from 2 years ago with Beasley and Hardaway Jr. It is not John Collins. That it's not going to be John Collins making up for that. John Collins is a power forward. He is not a triple point threat, although he does make about 1.5 per game in his career. Actually, in his career, it's less than 1.5. Last year, he made 89 threes. That's the most threes he's ever made. And you don't have guys. Asar Thompson isn't a three-point shooter. Ron Holland is not a three-point shooter. With all due respect to Danis Jenkins, is he a guy that I believe is going to be, 200 triples in a season? No, I don't. Cade Cunningham, do you want him taking continuous threes? I trust him with the three-point shot, and I think you do too. But I don't think he's that prolific three-point shooter. 2 years ago, I think he made 150. Last year, he made 125. He's more of a deck and drive guy. You want to get him to the line, mid-post, that kind of stuff. The way the game is played, whether you like it or not, the way the game is played, this is what's required. You're going to need three-point shooting. I get it. There's a lot of people in sports these days who don't like the trends. Okay. Home run to strikeouts. People hate it. I understand why you do. It's more old people, to be honest with you. It's the all or nothing swing. So you miss Rod Carew. You miss Tony Gwynn. You miss the ball to bat contact stuff. I would ask you this. If you're that person, I don't know, Andy, are you that person? Are you the guy who misses that type of baseball? You're not even that old.
I mean, no, but I do in a way. I don't. Yeah,
Okay.
I definitely don't. I hate like the non-contact. I was definitely young enough when I started playing bunts and things like that actually mattered
Sure.
back then. Yeah, so I do appreciate that part of the
Okay,
sport.
then I would say this. There's a guy who led the league in hits a year ago. Do you know who that was? Luis Ariz. You've heard of him, right? Because
Yep.
you remember him
Oh, yeah.
from the Minnesota days. So last year in San Diego, he led the league in hits with 180. All right. It's the second time he'd led the league in hits. He had 200 a few years ago. He plays in San Francisco now, and he's got 100 hits, and he's batting .331. He's only got 40 homers in his career, but he still is a bat-to-ball guy. Anybody saying that's the kind of guy we need in Detroit? No. What do we talk about all the time? What we talk about is right-handed power. We're not talking about guys who get on base. How many people are saying, "Oh my God, what are we going to do without Gleyber Torres?" Well, we're all about the power, so we've adapted to a certain extent. Football, passing league, running backs are, kind of like almost like a dime a dozen. We're not going to sign them to a long-term deal, right? Hockey, the offensive-minded defenseman. We like Mo Sider, but don't tell me you wouldn't want Quinn Hughes. Don't tell me you wouldn't want Cale Makar. Don't tell me you wouldn't want Zach Werenski. Absolutely. Why? Those guys push the pace, they push the puck, they score, they play in every situation. Basketball's the same way. It's all evolving, right? There are certain trends that have taken root, and that's the way the game is played, at least for now. And three-point shooting is part of it.
Yeah, it is. And I don't think that
go ahead.
I don't think people are like upset about the John Collins move. I wouldn't imagine he would be. I just think that people don't want this to be the only domino that falls. You know what I mean? Like they don't want this to be the only move this offseason. Like that can't be it.
For the Pistons you're talking about?
Yes, the Pistons.
Yeah. So I agree with that.
Not that it is the only move they made, but yeah.
No, it's not. Yeah, exactly right. And somebody actually brought that up in the chat, and you can join us in the chat because we stream live on YouTube, X, and on Facebook. It's a really good point from TC and SL. Isn't the guy they picked up from Oklahoma City known as a three-point shooter? He is. You're talking about Isaiah Joe, okay, from Oklahoma City, another young guy, and a guy who made 2.5 triples per game last year for OKC, and a guy who made 181. He's made 192 in his career. He's never made more than 191, but that's good. My point was, you're hoping that you get Duncan Robinson's 200 plus, and then you add with an Isaiah Joe, but you're going to lose Duncan Robinson. Now you're left with just the 1 3-point shooting threat.
Yeah, which isn't enough right now.
It's not enough.
Plain and simple.
Point.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So unless you think, I mean, do you believe Marcus Sasser is going to be that guy? Do you believe Danis Jenkins is that guy? Our problem is we don't know. And that's the hard part about it. You want, just like I do, you want proven players, as do I. I want guys I know I can count on. They're going to they're going to put the ball in the hole. They're going to force defenses to account for them. And maybe Danis Jenkins, I know it's hard to believe there's a path this way, but there are exceptions to a lot of different built-in rules. I've said that about second-round picks quite a bit. Nikola Jokic, all right? Jalen Brunson, Manu Ginobili, on and on and on, right? Danis Jenkins hasn't given us a sample, a large enough sample size. Sorry if I don't think 79 games is a large enough sample size. And even if you felt like it was, then you would say he doesn't make enough three-pointers because he made 73 last year. He made about 1 per game. That's not cutting it. This team needs more than that. The exciting thing is, so let's try to be as positive as we can, okay? The exciting thing is that John Collins does address a certain need. So he's going to give you some inside scoring. He's going to give you some inside rebounding. Obviously, he's not a massive rebounder. He's not going to be the second coming of Bob Lanier, but he does give you something in that regard that you've missed. So you filled a little bit. It's not complete. And that's what Amari Sankofa just said. He doesn't think they're done. It's not complete. It's just part of that needed step that they are en route to, and what you hope will be.
Yeah, that's
championship.
This is a big offseason for Trajan Langdon. There's really just no question about it. With how far they went last year and how much the roster's moving around and stuff right now.
How would you grade his offseason thus far? If you trade Isaiah Stewart for 3 second rounders, then turn around and use some of that capital for Isaiah Joe. Look, if you want championships, if this is what it's all about, if you think that Isaiah Joe is a guy, if you want to build culture is the wrong word. He's won a championship with Oklahoma City. He was an important piece to the championship team.
Right.
That helps you. Okay. It helps. It's not the be all end all, but it does help some of these players who have never been there. Okay. He knows how to handle things like that. So you've got that, and now you've got the John Collins deal. Don't just look at the acquisitions when you're grading them, though, in the offseason. You got to look at what they've lost. So if you're going to lose a guy like Duncan Robinson, you're going to lose a guy like Tobias Harris, and you lose an Isaiah Stewart, and you lose a Jalen Duren. Those are 4 members of your 9-man rotation. Let's just take,
which is also what makes it hard to grade right now. Like they have to, they got to finish out. We got to see what actually happens before.
Right.
You really can give it. So far, it's not like overly bad or overly good to me. It's just somewhere in the middle right now. I didn't love the Isaiah Stewart trade. I don't mind them getting Isaiah Joe. I'm not necessarily happy with them losing Duncan Robinson. The Jalen Duren stuff is, I don't know, crazy. But if
it's bothersome.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
You know why? Trajan Langdon is so far ahead of us. He's playing chess. I'm
exactly.
Playing I didn't expect this.
That's what I was going to say.
I did not expect him to go, okay, I tell you what. You're not giving me enough. I want $40 million. I'm going to go to Sacramento, or I'm going to go to the Lakers, and I want them to try and work a sign and trade. I did not expect that.
He knows what we
Jalen
don't know,
Duren.
and that's what makes it so hard to just judge him right now. That's why you got to be careful when you're jumping to those judgments early in the offseason.
Well, that's also why you have to be careful when you think certain things are an automatic, because they're just not. You're not getting – I can't envision – maybe you can. I can't envision any type of scenario where the Lakers have something that the Pistons not just want but need in return to try and take them over the top. Oh, we're good now. We've lost Jalen Duren, and we've replaced him with fill in the blank, Hachimura. That doesn't cut it.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't think so either.
And it is interesting. Guys become a little bit better when you lose them. In other words, you figure out what you're losing. How do you replace it? It's easy to say that Jalen Duren wasn't good enough in the postseason, because he wasn't. It's easy for me to say I wouldn't pay him $40 million, and I wouldn't. But when you lose a guy who averages close to 20 points and 12 rebounds a game, go find another who's going to give you the production. You want to go, well, come on, most of his baskets are inside, and I've already proven all this stuff and said to you it's just not true, but it's a narrative, and I'm not going to be able to get people away from it. It's just etched in their brain, right? Put back guy and a dunk guy. That's all he is. No,
he's definitely more than that. No matter how bad his
definitely
postseason was, he's better than that.
Yeah, and you could say all you want about it. You can. I understand. You can say that that's who he is. That's what you've noticed. If you watch every game, you should notice he's not all that. He needs to be more than he is, but he's not all that. Now you get a guy like John Collins. If you had him alongside Jalen Duren, and you add an Isaiah Joe, and you make another move, and you've got, the Cade Cunninghams and the Asar Thompsons, the Ron Holland, then I think you're in pretty damn good shape too. John Collins, by the way, last year made $25 million for the Clippers. So when people are talking about certain players that you want and what they bring to the proverbial table, how do you feel about Norman Powell?
I mean, that'd be.
So that's a guy that I think would fit. You and I both know, I mean, we've said this ad nauseum. You would like a Troy Murphy III coming here. That would require a trade.
100%.
Norman Powell, who's, by the way, 33. Norman Powell is a free agent. He is a little bit more accessible. Here's what I like about Norman Powell. Last year, about 3 triples a game. Year before, 3 triples a game. He's going to give you something that you have lacked. You compare him with Isaiah Joe, and suddenly, and last year, Norman Powell made 160 triples, year before 180. Suddenly, you got yourself a pretty damn good 1-2 combo from the deep threat.
Probably
Thanks
something
to Amari Sankofa.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's probably something we can dive deeper into tomorrow.
We will do just that. Our appreciation for Amari Sankofa and for you giving us a chance on a Wednesday morning. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning at 6.
We're fortunate here in Michigan. We have some of the greatest golf courses in the country. Tullymore and St. Ives is part of the reason we can brag the way we do about our golf. Once you visit Tullymore, you'll keep coming back. The view is breathtaking. The golf is fantastic. The accommodations are regal, and the people are special. It really does feel like a home away from home at Tullymore. Make your play and stay reservations today by going to tullymoregolf.com or by calling 1-800-972-4837. That's 1-800-972-4837.
In the Den with Dan.